I think Lakers fans really have to admit the fact that the Lakers may not repeat this year. It's a hard conclusion to come to. You know, I've had to come to that conclusion. I'm a Laker fan, but the writing is on the wall, and it doesn't look good. Especially after LeBron James' high ankle sprain, which he's out indefinitely.
Well, you can see he gets it rolled up on, and it's, not your atypical type of sprain, because it's like an inversion where normally sprain, you turn it the other way. He turned it in. Those are can be really painful. I'm very curious to see how he responds to the locker room.
You know, LeBron screamed, and you just never really see that out of LeBron. This is compounding the injury that essentially on top of what Anthony Davis is out with in terms of his Achilles injury.
Although you don't want it to be anything new as he's going to the basket there, and yeah, it has to.
So this just doesn't look good for the Lakers. I mean, the last time LeBron was hurt and he hurt his groin and everything, you remember that the Lakers didn't even make the playoffs when they were 4th in the West. So it just doesn't bode well for the playoff chances. And there are numerous reasons because of this. One of them is the Lakers are one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the NBA this season especially. People saying, well, they won a title last year and, you know, they didn't have the best of shooting. But in the NBA Finals, the Lakers set a record for hitting threes in the NBA Finals and taking. So, you know, that's a big difference to now where it's just like the three-point shooting is not there. The Lakers team, this offensive scheme was essentially just built on the personnel of LeBron James and Anthony Davis. But it may have some principles. You already know the offense is essentially getting LeBron and AD the ball, and their gravity essentially opens up the offense. With LeBron James going to be out for an undisclosed amount of time, like who's going to be that offensive guy to get you your numbers and also keep the game flowing? You know, Rondo's not there anymore to be really the floor general, even though Schroeder is doing a great job. Who's going to be the next guy up to really pick up? The Lakers were already treading water. Like, they were just barely trying to stay afloat. Like, you know what I mean? They were like Rose and Leonardo DiCaprio and the Titanic. They were just treading water, you know, trying to maintain a good position with Anthony Davis out. Now LeBron is out. Like, I mean, this opens up not only the playoff race and the MVP race, this opens up the championship race, because you got to remember this. When a guy gets injured, he doesn't just come back, play 100%. He has to work his way back into playing shape and stuff like that and getting back to his regular self. So you telling me like AD has to come back and work himself back into shape. LeBron has to come back and he's not going to be out of shape, but work himself back into rhythm. So you telling me those two guys are going to go into the playoffs 100%? No. And then they're facing teams that have gotten better. I'm telling you guys, look, Portland has gotten better. The Jazz have gotten better. You're looking at teams like now where, hey, LeBron is just enough to beat them. Denver has gotten better. LeBron is better enough to beat those teams. No, not anymore. You need Anthony Davis to come along for the ride and really give you those numbers, because LeBron's 36, advancing in age. So Lakers fans have to just adjust and say, like, this is not the year that we're going to repeat. And matter of fact, that's one thing that, although LeBron James is dominant on the court and everything like that, he's not dominant in terms of dominating the league where other teams can't win championships. Like, the last time LeBron went back-to-back was when he was in Miami. Now, think about that. How many years ago was that? There 10 years ago. Almost 10 years ago. That's the last time he went back-to-back championships. So, this year, you know, with the advent of Kevin Durant and the Nets and everything, we knew that was going to be like a tough task. But when you had injury to the mix, it was like, all right, whatever. Plus, that's his history doesn't show you a player that he three-peats or backs-to-backs often. You see what I'm saying? Just one back-to-back. He wins titles. Don't get me wrong or nothing like that. I'm just saying his pedigree, he doesn't dominate the league in terms of consecutive championships consistently. You know, he wins, then he loses a couple wins, then he loses. You know, that's just how it is. So, but this was the year I was like, if the Lakers are going to win back-to-back, this was going to be it. because after that, AD would have to take over the team, and they'll have to transition and phase LeBron out. You know, because as much as we want him to play till he's 40, the skill and the skill is still there, but the body is just, the father time is undefeated. Even though LeBron James looks like indestructible, that's not just how, it doesn't work like that. This injury, even though it might be like small and minute, it's always the small things that get you. You know, sort of like Denzel Washington in that movie, The Small Things.
It's the little things, Jimmy. It's the little things that rip you apart. It's the little things that get you caught.
It's always the small things, the things that you don't think are going to bother you, like a 2-week vacation here, a guy gets injured there, a staff member, he can't come back and help coach and help with the defense. It's all the small things, because the championship title run is so fragile. And all of that being said, man, it just doesn't really bode well. Now, all other teams right now, they should be teaming and salivate. Like the Utah Jazz should feel like we have a chance to make it to the finals this year. Philadelphia 76ers, we have a chance to win the title this year. Nets, we have a chance to win the title. Bucks, we have a chance to win the title this year. Because if LeBron James is not 100% and AD isn't 100%, all bets are off. They're not winning the title. They're not winning the title. I mean, the Miami Heat gave the Lakers problems. When I mean giving problems, I mean not like they weren't dominating, but they just didn't quit. And they didn't even have that much offensive firepower. They were just a strong defensive team. So just imagine they face a team that's okay defensively and has firepower. The funny thing is, Vogel is trying to turn the team into the Pistons, where they're trying to keep teams under 110, keep games 189, 97. They're trying to do that, but if LeBron's injured and AD's injured, that's done. And plus, there's no zone. You know, the zoning rules have changed and things like that. There's nothing to really assist with keeping teams down. The game is geared toward offense. So with LeBron out, AD out, and then whenever they do come back, if your game plan is to say we're going to keep teams under 110, while the league is probably averaging 112 now or 115, I think that's unrealistic. It's like admitting that you're alcoholic. But first, getting AA meetings and stuff like that. The first step is to admit you have a problem. And Houston, well, LA, we have a problem. Hoops Junction, World Meets Hoopla. Like, comment, subscribe.